The gritty reboot has taken many forms over the years. It's a subgenre of film, an internet meme, and now, most importantly of all, a video on my channel. Seriously though, I just want to take a look at some of the most popular and well-known films that are considered gritty reboots and question what makes them work or doesn't work. Because this trend has been going on for 10, 15 years, something like that. And I want to see why studios keep jumping on this trend. Let's do this. So, to get us started, let's take a look at the actual definition of what a gritty reboot is. Restarting a film franchise from the very beginning and making it a grittier, more realistic version that will appeal to adults. I got that definition from Urban Dictionary of all places, because despite being a popular term, there aren't really any articles or essays written on it or using that vernacular very much. It's not even on TV tropes, though you do get both darker and edgier and grimification, and they cover pretty similar grounds. And I find that crazy because, like I said, this is a popular term. People use this. Pretty sure it was coined around Batman Begins and Casino Royale, the films that, released 2 years apart from each other, really pushed the genre, I guess we'll call it, into high gears, steering their franchises away from the over-the-top sequences and overall camp that they'd become known for. So this video actually started off as a does it hold up 15 years later for Casino Royale? And while I'm really excited with what I'm doing with this video, I did take a bunch of Casino Royale notes, so I'm just going to do that really quick. Casino Royale came out in 2006, and director Martin Campbell wanted to take the franchise in a very different direction than where all the previous films had been, including his own work on GoldenEye. He went with a more grounded, violent version of the film instead of the over-the-top gadgets and big stunts. Daniel Craig's performance really fits this interpretation of the character, but at the same time, it's hard to be the best part of a movie that Mads Mikkelsen is in, who steals the show every step of the way. I think the movie isn't as good as Skyfall, a film that I find fits a better balance between this tone and the original series in a way that it isn't quite a middle ground, but it is a nice medium of sorts, despite its plot having a lot more holes in it. So, 15 years later, does Casino Royale hold up? Yeah. Alright, now that I've got that out of my brain, we can move on. The success of these movies really spread across the industry, especially in the superhero genre. DC went so hard with Zack Snyder's work and Suicide Squad that their pivot away from the dark tone has been a point of discussion for the brand as a whole. The most famous on the Marvel adaptation side was when Fox decided that their Rubber Man Sensitive Rock Monster series of films needed to be serious enough that you almost forget it has a rubber man and a sensitive rock monster. But this wasn't exclusive to superhero movies either. I think the perfect example of this is the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy. It has a much heavier, bleaker tone than the original franchise, and definitely more than the Burton version, because that one is... And there are so many films that fit into this mold. You know, there's Sherlock Holmes, Snow White and the Huntsman, so many Robin Hood movies. But that's not what we're doing here. This isn't a list or a ranking or anything. I want to start talking about what I think makes these movies so popular to be made. The biggest and most obvious point is definitely trying to replicate success. Batman was such a critical and financial success, with the sequel being even bigger and better. How could a studio not want to get in on that? But it's more than that. Nolan's films definitely amplified the remake trend and started setting a certain tone for them, but that's been going on long before them, and I don't think we can tie an entire movement to one movie, can we? To keep on the topic of comic book movies, and comics in general, this pretty much feels like an echo of the gritty comic trend of the late 80s and 90s. Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns were made specifically to tackle adult themes and gave grown comic fans something that really just catered to them and their sensibilities. It became a whole movement. More than even the comic books that I mentioned, the Dark Knight movies took that grounded, serious tone that adults could appreciate and eat up, but packaged it in an accessible PG-13 rating, so that way these adults could bring their kids, or even younger teens can go see this movie with their friends. And it's that accessibility that the studios are chasing. It's why so many films either feel like they were being forced into a darker mold or held back from being rated R. Because they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. I got tired of standing. So I think that's probably the biggest appeal of the Gritty remake and why you rarely see those movies go full R. They're going for mass market appeal and, let's be honest, the illusion of it being for adults. Ironically, it was Marvel's less dark tone that really became the trend to chase. They hit those different audiences not by trying to appeal to adults without isolating children. It was their willingness to have their movies play both as big, action fair, and comedies that really worked. Not to mention the consistent tone across their wider film universe. But I will say, there is one thing that I haven't brought up yet, and I think it's the most important and the biggest thing that defines whether or not these movies succeed or fail. Artistic intent. The Dark Knight films, at their best and their worst, are Christopher Nolan's vision. Martin Campbell wanted to make a 007 that felt nothing like previous Bond movies when he made Casino Royale. Contrast that to Dracula Untold, that doesn't feel like it was made by somebody with a particular point of view at all, but by committee. To bring up Marvel again, the major critique those movies get is that they all start to feel the same. It makes sense as they are filtered through the creative lens of Kevin Feige above all else, including the directors and the writers. Artistic vision is also the thing that I think traces Batman Begins to the films that, as far as I can tell, are the original Gritty reboots. The Thing and The Fly, some people forget, are remakes themselves. They both took the advanced technologies and special effects of their eras and pushed them through the lens of the directors who made them. And that created something special that we still look back on now and appreciate. So that's it. All the thoughts I've got on the concept of the Gritty reboot. Now that I've laid it all out there, I can do that fun thing where everything gets tied up in a nice bow. So, what have we learned from all this?
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't fucking know either. I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
I'm fucked if I know what we did.
Yes, sir. It's hard to say.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Alright, that's it for this episode. Gotta say, wish that Bel Air trailer had come out before I wrote this. I could have done a few minutes on that. Seriously, it looks so bad. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, have a good one.